Hey everybody, my name is Case Tigal. Today I'm going to be telling you guys about limiting technology time for children. If you walk into your favorite restaurant, more than likely you're going to look and see there's a family and they're going to have children. And when you see these children, they're probably not going to be coloring pictures or playing tic-tac-toe on their kids menu like we used to do. Most likely you're going to see them looking at some sort of phone screen or tablet screen. While getting kids to sit still and behave in public or even in restaurants seems difficult, parents basically turn to a screen to fix their issue. And this excessive screen use is happening all the time on a daily basis, and parents need to stop and act upon this issue. According to the newspaper, the Washington Post, they were talking about 8 to 12-year-olds. They spend an average of a little over 4 hours a day just on a screen, looking at some sort of screen. And teenagers, we're looking at an average of 7 hours a day, and that's not including their schoolwork. And that's a huge problem. So, while this use of technology time can be great for educational purposes, the technology time is getting abused. It's getting used way too much. And this excessive use can cause negative effects on children. And so, I've seen this issue happen in places like family gatherings, restaurants, grocery stores, and even at church. And it's time for parents to step up and know that this is an important issue and it needs to stop because it can harm their children. So in this speech, I'm basically going to be telling you guys about basically the effects that technology time can excessive technology use, the effects it can have on children. Basically, why you need to educate your children how bad, that excessive use of technology time is bad, and I'm gonna basically give you a solution to fix your some solutions to fix your problem. So, now let's basically talk about some of the negative effects that excessive use of technology can have on children. Basically, now in this day of age, because of the pandemic, a lot of things went digital, online. And this screen time had to go up, obviously. But even with doing schoolwork and other business meetings online, excessive screen use is causing negative effects on these children's lives. And according to the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, I think, or something like that, they talked about saying how children spend this long amount of time on a day, and even though they're spending this excessive use, it can lead them to witness things like unsafe behavior, violence, predators, like online predators, and even false information, and even cause cyberbullying. So, why is this excessive time bad? Because it has negative effects on your children's psychological and physical mindsets. So, according to Tom Freeman, he wrote a report basically saying that doctors are starting to see a rise in the depression in children. And basically, when you have depression, your quality of life decreases. And so research is basically showing that children can struggle with just mental problems, weight problems, and cyberbullying. And these are some difficult issues, but they need to be handled correctly so they can live a good and healthy life. And the first thing we need to do is, even though I may not be a parent yet, or you listening may not be a parent, or you may be, you need to, if you have kids, and you need to educate them that excessive screen time is bad. And even us me as a teenager and other teenagers, we need to realize that there's little kids that look up to us, and we need to be a role model. They see us as a role model, so we need to be that example and put down our phones. Not let the kids see, oh, they're on their phone all the time, so it's okay for me to be on some sort of screen, when it's really causing negative effects on them that they don't know. So you need to tell them it's not good to be looking at your phone or a screen all the time, because it can lead to it can cause negative effects to you. So you also need to set things like screen limit times. Only a certain amount of time you're allowed to access a screen. And so this can also make sure your child is safe and their health is not affected. They're physically not affected. They're better than what they were if they were exposed to this excessive screen time. So let's talk about just what happens when we act on these screen time limits, setting these screen time limits. According to the Mayo Clinic, they basically talked about how we need to have things like tech-free zones during like meal times, or just family gatherings. Just have a tech-free zone where you don't pick up the phone. You have a quality conversation with your family, and you're not head deep in some sort of screen. You also can do things like keep the phones out of their bedroom, because research has shown that their phones having this excessive screen time can cause a disruption of sleep patterns. So sleep is an important thing, and so there needs to be a good pattern there, so your sleep and your overall mental health is not affected because you're losing sleep over looking at some sort of screen. And according to this BMC Public Health, they said that parents need to encourage physical activity, put down the phones, and get their kids to go play, ride bikes, play basketball. And while you're at it, you ought to do the same thing. That way you can form that connection and bond with your children. And so these are just some building blocks to help you limit the screen time. And without the screen time, without limiting screen time, then cyberbullying can happen, depression can happen, all these bad things can happen if we don't act on this screen time limitation. And basically nowadays, excessive screen time is just an excuse for parents to keep their kids quiet. And this is just a building block before the downhill slide into all the negative effects on their children that this excessive screen time can have on their children. So it's time to step up and protect their children. So in conclusion, I hope I brought you aware of this, and I hope I've encouraged you to take action and not only protect your children's quality of life, but also yours. And although screen time is beneficial for educational purposes, excessive screen time is bad. So avoiding this issue is not an option. Encourage your children, limit their screen time, educate them, and lead by example.